2 minutes actually to make some welcoming remarks, and then step by step more participants will follow us. So welcome everybody to our second members meeting in the online world. I see a lot of known faces to me. That's very good that you are joining us. Sometimes when you are in home office and you don't go out and you don't have the possibility to go out, you think, is the whole world still alive, or I'm the only one here at home and I do not know whether somebody is still alive outside, but you show that the world is still alive. So thank you very much. Thank you very much again for joining us. Today we thought it might be important for you, for our member company, for our member community, to know, to have inputs from different sectors. We have very renowned and famous people on our AHK board, which can represent very well a sector, which can give us good input about what is going on in their sector. So they will not speak about their company because there are limitations in terms of saying something about the companies, but they can give you a good insight into the sector. And that is what we would like to share within the next 1 hour of our meeting. So what we will touch today is the very important sector health, which will be covered and presented by Vaga Enayati. I do not need to introduce him further. He's very known to us all. We will then switch to the automotive sector, which might be very important also for you, what is going on there. We have with us 3 board members, Michael Bolliger from Bosch, Christian von Albrechtsfeld from Conti, based in Timisoara, and Julio Cadar from Drexelmeier, based in Satu Mare. Especially in the automotive sector, there's also a lot of, let's say, challenges, which also will affect Romania, but also Germany. So we will get also some good insights what is happening in Germany. And then we will have 2 colleagues from our AHK board from the retail sector. Sorry for saying retail, but Roland is actually from Metro and he will talk more for the wholesale actually. And Daniel Groß from Rewe Penny, he will give us some insights about the sector, the food retail here in Romania, and maybe also what is going on in Germany. And then last but not least, the last sector that we will have some presentation, some information today is the agricultural sector, which will be covered by Michael Bayer. He is the CEO of Claas. I think everybody knows Claas. So these are the green machinery equipments that you can see when you drive through Romania. So he will give us some insights in this sector. What I like to do right now is to give for 1 minute the floor to Ms. Pochotta to give us some dates for the next events, which will be organized by the AHK within the next 2-3 weeks. We will continue 1 month later on the first Wednesday in June with our next, in this format, with our next monthly member meeting. And we will cover 4 more other sectors, which will also be covered by participants from our board. So you will also get more insights, for example, in the field of energy, in the construction area. So we will continue with this informing with this input about sectors for our monthly member events. I hope that you will stay with us. So now Ms. Hochota, I see also Dragos is in the place. I would like to invite Dragos as well to say maybe after Ms. Hochota 1-2 words as you like. And then I would like to, after Dragos, I would like to start with Vaga to get some information about the health sector. So first of all, Ms. Hochota, Mr. Then Dragos, and then Vaga.
Thank you very much. Hello also from my side. The next events that we are planning, actually the next is tomorrow. We have a webinar about effective leadership in times of change that is offered by our member Staufen, who is also with us today. Then we have a quite busy next week. On the 12th of May, in the morning, we have the webinar Digital Marketing, and in the afternoon, we have the webinar Safest Way to Return to Office offered by REC and Dentons. Maybe REC is also the place where we have our office. We are in an open space and in a co-working space, and REC is offering this webinar to you. On the 14th of May, we have the topic cybersecurity offered by our members Control Risks. And on the Friday, on the 15th of May, we have the transition from crisis to the new world offered by Retina, also a member. So you see, we have topics that are getting us from the crisis to the new normality. First of all, on the 12th, we speak about safety in the offices, and Friday on the 15th, we speak about new management skills, new styles, new communication styles, and trends in the digitalization. What I would like shortly, these are webinars, but we also have the format of meetups. The meetups are, well, gatherings from in different sectors on different topics where actually you can get in contact with other members. And if you would like for us to organize such a meetup on a specific topic or maybe with your colleagues from the industry, just let us know and we can arrange that for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dragos. Some welcoming remarks from your side?
Thank you very much, Sebastian. Very, very happy to see you again, and hopefully soon in another way. I try to understand who is at home, who is in the office. Most of you are not showing the face. Maybe we can do this exercise for 1 minute. Everybody showing the face because we want to see all the faces. We are missing you, and I think we miss each other. And I think it's good to see you in that way. But normal times will come again. Even if a lot of you are staying at home, I can assure you that the activity of AHK was very intensive in the last 2 months. We had a lot of exercises, meetings, discussions within the coalition, with the government, with the president. Yesterday we had the meeting with the president. Some of us are now in front of the prime minister, and so on and so on. Our focus was on Kurzarbeit. And I think we are making a lot of progress in terms of explaining the idea of Kurzarbeit, and we are talking with unions, and we are making progress. But in the same time, the government is working on another model. So we will try to find a way. We'll have on Friday a meeting with the government regarding Kurzarbeit. This was the point of discussion with the president yesterday. Probably you saw as he came out our meeting, he talked about munca flexibilă. So we are making some progress. It's not easy. We are doing a lot of things. And maybe this is an idea that I have in this moment. We can organize a webinar on Kurzarbeit on things that we have been doing, this period. This is an offer that we can make for everybody who wants to understand the idea of Kurzarbeit and how far we are in our discussions with the unions and the government. So a lot of fun for you this evening. Enjoy the next hour and stay together with us. We are still fighting. We are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dragos. Good idea. We will take this challenge and organize something in this direction. Vaga, what is going on in the health sector? Are we still alive?
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation and for the idea to talk about different sectors of the economy. I think this is a good insight for all of us. First of all, I want to say that a general overview, not necessarily linked with the health sector, but I am very enthusiastic about the last 3-4 months because it shook us, all of us, to think a little bit out of the box and maybe also to see that we are not an ecosystem only in our city or our country, and it's a world ecosystem to which we have to get used and to adopt. And this virus showed us this the most, that we cannot handle on our own anymore, and we have to learn to work together. In the health system, this virus was very stretched the health system to the maximum possible. Unfortunately, not necessarily on the most efficient way. The private sector was more or less not existing because the private system in Romania in general is very weak. We have in Bucharest, it's, let's say, well developed, but it's only in Bucharest. But the rest of the country, it's very weak. So the whole heaviness of this work for the COVID-19 was on the shoulder of the state more than on the private. The state system was more or less closed for anything else but the COVID-19, which had a lot of collateral damages in the same time. And it is very peculiar if you think that although the whole focus is on the health system now, 40,000 people were taken, their jobs were lost in the health system, in the private health system, because people are not using the private health because of fear and because of restrictions. So something is going wrong, I would say, because the death toll raised a lot more than the COVID-19 deaths. You can see this also in other countries where we have these restrictions. But I hope slowly we will go to the right direction, and people can use the medical services, private or state, again before chronic patients become acute. The private sector in Romania is divided in different sections. It's the insurances, the subscriptions, the personnel, the infrastructure. But as a whole, we know that for the next 2-3 years, the attention of the governments will be on the private sector. This is for sure. For us in Romania, this could be, who are working in the private sector, a good sign, but in the same time, you have to know that all the hospitals, at least but this is for the state and private hospitals, their costs to manage patients went up exponentially. So there has to be some aid. So we can't see the patients on a safe base in the future as well. So the need for help and financing from the state will be needed more and more in the future. So, and I hope that the investments after this crisis will be bigger. The problem with the investments in Romania in the infrastructure of hospitals, state hospitals, the last 30 years, not a lot happened. There are some small wings of hospitals which were added or reconstructed, but as a whole, we have very little new hospitals with new equipment and all the flux, we say in Romanian, for patients, which is on the right track. So, for example, I'm constructing now a medical city with 35,000 square meters, which will actually bring the capacity only in Bucharest 30% higher in the private sector. So you can imagine that it is very little happening in new constructions in the health system in Romania. I hope that after this crisis, we, the private sector, will start to think and be courageous to do big investments. This means hospitals, multi-specialty hospitals with over 400 to 1,000 beds where you can treat the patient in an integrated way. This is what is missing now. I hope that the state will try to close the inefficient hospitals and transform them in places for rehabs or for elderly people, but not as hospitals which have a high cost. I hope that we say the pyramid will be inversed, which means that we will have more ambulatory outpatient services and less hospitals and less hospital costs, which is still a big problem in Romania compared with other EU countries. So there is a lot to do, but many things depend on the attitude of the government as well, and to take political decisions which are not always popular ones. So this is a small introduction about the health system. We have, besides this, the insurances. The pharma industry is going very well, you can imagine, for the moment. The insurances, the health insurances still don't pick up, and they don't have their identity. They do actually sell the same thing as subscriptions. The subscription model will and is going now even better because it's price-wise much more better offer, and in the future we will see this even more. And this system of health maintenance organizations where the insurance and the provider are one will grow also even more in Romania. So I'm at the service at the end. Maybe I don't know when we can put also questions.
Thank you very much, Varga. What we can do is when you have questions, please use the chat function. So we see that you are interested in a question. As well, we have a function, raise your hand. So whenever you have a question, please sign it this also. I would say right now, do we have one question right now? Because otherwise we will continue with the other sectors and we collect We can even collect more questions also to Vaga at the end. When there is right now a question, please raise your hand or put it in the chat. Otherwise, if this is not the case, then we will continue with the other representative.
There is a question, technical unemployment will go on?
Is it no? I mean, this is a question not related to the health system. This is a question maybe which is related to courts.
It affects us as well, but it's not only for the health system. Yes.
I think right now, when I look at Dragos and also our board discussion, I think the answer is only God knows. Dragos, is this my personal feeling is there will be a solution, and I hope and pray for it. If it will be technical unemployment, or as Dragos said, Kurzarbeit, I think our position from the AHK is we need Kurzarbeit at least at the beginning from the 15th of May, when there is no emergency started anymore. So before 15th of May, you are asking, Dragos, do you want to say some words on this? I gave already my feelings.
We will know better on Friday, but what I know today is that they want to continue chômage technique for the companies. They are closed by decisions, not for everybody. So this certificate albastre, whatever, the blue certificates, and they have in mind to introduce a kind of a help in terms of not paying the taxes for salaries, 35 to 40.1%, depends, for people coming out of chômage technique. But then our question is, what happens with the people that were not in chômage technique, but they need some help? And the answer was, if they survived until now, they can survive also in the next time. So it's a little bit difficult to say today what's the direction. Today, this is more or less the direction in which the government wants to go. But we still have hope. We still hope that the flexible model of Kurzarbeit will be introduced in a way or another. And this is something that we must discuss on Friday with the Minister of Labor.
We have also a question on the topic of health. Ms. Klipachuk, do you want to ask the question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It's also a self-reflection. Is there something that the private healthcare leaders can do to change the management of public hospitals? Maybe it's pressure of society, maybe it's public-private partnerships, I don't know, or something else. Maybe there are some solutions. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Public-private did not function in Romania. The last 25 years, we tried it on several occasions, and it is very difficult. The mentalities are quite difficult. We have the big problem, as you said correctly, with the management of hospitals, where the decision of managers in hospitals is still very much linked to a political decision. And so professionalism is missing there. What is, let's say, a light at the end of the tunnel is that we see that the state is learning from the private sector as well, and they feel a kind of threat and change their attitudes in some areas to go a little bit a higher level, so they remain in the business. But before we don't change three factors, One is political decisions of closing hospitals which are inefficient. The other is if we don't bring in more competence in state hospitals, and we don't do that, corruption disappears, it will be very difficult. So the state system is fighting with a lot of problems. Corruption, let's say, is getting less because doctors are paid really very well now in the hospitals. But unfortunately, there are physicians who earn per month even 40,000, 50,000 euros, but still use this method. So to pay people with money is not always the answer to make them moral people.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Thank you very much, Vaga, for your input. Okay, I do not see any more questions right now. As I said, you can always ask in the chat function your question, and we can come back to this, also to the health sector at the end. What I would like to do right now is to give the floor to the automotive sector, completely another sector. We have, as I said, on board Michael Boldiger, Christian von Albrechtsfeld, and Julio Kadar. I see Julio is preparing himself, so I give him the first one, the floor. Julio, you have the floor.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to our meeting. It's nice to see you. It is something very new for me to participate to this meeting directly from Satu Mare, but technique is very good to us. Okay, briefly about Drexelmeier Group. As probably you know, we are tier 1 supplier for automotive. It means our main customer are Daimler, BMW, VW, Audi, Porsche, and so on. We do have all over about 50 plants and about 70,000 employees. In Romania, we do have 5 plants with around about 11,000 employees. I guess that we had the first problems after Horeca, and we were almost very heavily affected by this corona pandemic. Our plants in Romania were stopped between 4 and 6 weeks, partly or fully. Fortunately, we can now work around about 70–80% of our capacities in Romanian are working. Of course, for us was a huge benefit, this state aid from the Romanian state. It was very good because we can partly at least covered our costs with the production stops. And we hope that in the future, and thank you for Mr. Dragos Anastasiou, for Mr. Sebastian Metz in order to participating by this discussion for short work, for this Kurzarbeit. Of course, we are going to need in the future some help from the Romanian state as well, because we cannot believe that we can establish our whole plant production and our whole plant sales for 2020. We guess that we are going to lose something between 5 until perhaps 20% of our turnover, of our EBIT. But of course, they are also only mathematical forecast and nothing in the reality. What should be positive in this matter, that our clients started their production. I mean, Daimler, BMW, Volkswagen, and Audi, but we cannot know for sure if they are continuing to produce or something happens in the future as well. for sure, we do have, in addition, a lot of plus costs, a lot of additional costs because COVID pandemic, like mask, disinfection solutions, liquids, additional bus transport for our employees, and so on. It means what our forecast for this year show, we are going to work less and we are going to spend more, and it is not good for business. Briefly, it would be my presentation, and of course, I'm ready for your questions. Thank you very much.
For the questions, I think we will take also the answers.
Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Questions. Mihai Bolija is per telephone with us. Mihai, can you speak with us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good. A very nice good afternoon, everyone. I can't actually use the Zoom because I'm not allowed, but I'm using my phone, so hopefully it will work. So you can't see my face today, you can hear my voice instead. Okay, so what we are witnessing these days is an unprecedented and one of the most powerful disruption that we ever had in the last at least half a century. So this is something that, of course, and obviously the world was not prepared for. And we have also a lot of challenges ahead of us because it's not over. So we are in our company, we had our first signs in February, where Wuhan was actually locked down, and we have a disruption in the logistic chains because we have a lot of operations in Wuhan. And I'm not talking about automotive, I'm talking also about industrial production, because the Bosch Group is actually only 65% automotive, the rest of 35% is industrial business and services. Actually, in a moment, what we have in a moment at the historic scale and the time scale, in a moment the world was actually broken down. It's a collapse, and everything which has been, let's say, achieved in the last years was ruined by this pandemic within months. And the question is now how long it will last, and what will be the consequences. Because what we are doing now is actually to prepare for the future, however this future will be, and for the new normality, to put it in this way. We see a very deep shrink of the automotive production by at least 20% this year. We can't predict what is actually coming next year. And the question is, because it was meant that the car producer start to ramp up. Yes, it's true. But the second question is, what will be the demand of those products? Will be the demand, or will come the demand up at the level before the pandemic or not? So this is a question that has to be answered. It is not a very easy one. Production-wise, we have, of course, we had to stop for a couple of weeks of production here in Romania. We are now slowly ramping up or logging up. We didn't stop the software development. The software development was actually running rather on higher speed as usual, because some projects from abroad came to us, which was actually very good. and also the business process outsourcing activity was not affected or affected a bit. Sales of industrial goods were affected, of course, and now we are slowly coming up again and trying to, let's say, to catch up. And of course, we will have the same impact as I have mentioned before, about probably minus 20-25% to prior year. One of the challenges we have faced in this time was actually to keep the mood of the people positive, to keep the people close, to keep our associates close to the company, and we did a lot of things in this respect. Then a tremendous efforts has been done in terms of donations, in terms of voluntary activities, in terms of social responsibility activities. People were actually taking care about the elderlies and so on. So basically, the entire company was involved, and we'll come up with a press release about all this activities, which I believe this is also something that is keeping up a positive mood of our associates. We have used the furlough leave, or so-called chômage technique. So furlough leave, we have used the unpaid leave for the senior management. We have basically used all the matters which drove down the costs, and of course we have had a very serious and a very continuous cost control. Now, it was mentioned that we are working on measures. My opinion, this pandemic is not waiting for us to discuss about measures. I was actually waiting and hoping that, you know, like a team of experts is gathering together and working 24/7 and working out measures for the government to be executed. From my perspective, what is happening now with all these discussions and what also Dragos mentioned is actually very good, but it's actually too slow. We will not be excused if you are not taking timely the right measures. And the time is not with us. So the time is actually with the pandemic. And if we are not taking the right measures fast or faster or much faster, it will be probably too late. We are missing maybe some opportunities in these days or in the months to come, because I think we can attract, even in these times, if we are clever enough, but we have to prove it. Also some investments. We are talking about FDIs, foreign direct investments. Of course, they are actually shrinking. But again, we are in a safe region. We have now a working force available, I think, much more than before. And I think we have now a great, and the second will not come, chance to attract. So again, this is sort of a disappointment from my side. I was actually waiting much more. And I think we have to look above our fence and to see what other countries are doing and in what kind of measures are they taking. Because 15th of May is next week, and we do not know what are we going to do after this period. Would be, again, this state of alert. I mean, do we need to fulfill declaration? Do we need to do all kind of things? What will happen? This is something that we have to find out, and we find out fast. So maybe, Dragos, on Friday, you can actually put a bit of more pressure from our side to the lovely government and to come up with some clarifications. And so with this being said, I will be with you about 20 minutes. Then I have to go another call. But anyway, thank you very much for inviting and organizing this this meeting. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope that we will actually see and meet each other soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, for your inputs. I hope that Christian von Albrechtsfeld from Continental is now with us. He is also using his phone. Christian, can you hear us? Are you connected?
Yeah, I'm from the beginning there. Do you hear me?
Okay, perfect. There was also one very nice question. I had the same in mind. Maybe you can take this also in your speech and try to answer this one from Roland Schacht from Schmitz Cargo Bull. Everybody's talking about the relocation, reorganizing of the international supply chain. And especially, I mean, this is a very important topic for the automotive industry, because you have production sites in China which are producing goods that might be used for Europe, facilities and plants. Is the automotive sector, maybe not, don't talk about Continental if you cannot, but if is the automotive sector really thinking about reorganization of the supply chain to, let's say, to stand on more legs? Because what we see right now is that the globalization, the international trade is quite fragile. So is the automotive sector taking any steps in this direction? Christian, the floor is yours.
So thanks very much. Maybe to start with this question, I would currently, I think it's far too early to fully understand what is currently happening. Nevertheless, in comparison or to contrast for a crisis, which we also had the Fukushima topic, for example, we just see something totally different. We just see that the global market is just going down. So finally, it's not a question of we cannot deliver because somewhere, or there is a big need for car sales somewhere in the world still, and we cannot supply because somewhere else in the world happened something. But we just see that the overall, due to the pandemic topic now, the overall world demand is just going totally down. So this is, I think, a global topic, which also would not have helped us if now in Romania we have everything there, and maybe only the country Romania that just don't have the crisis, because we are just producing for the world market, and the world market is going down. Looking now to this direction, to come with some figures, we just see that the world market was just decreasing in March with 38%. Looking to the monthly automotive sales, because in China it started in China in February, there the market went down with 80%, and China is a real big market. Looking now to the newest over the last year's development. Looking now to Europe, we just see that the car registrations, and now this is March mainly, or this is only March now, went down by 55%. And here, of course, we have, depending on how big the crisis was in each country, countries like Spain, Italy, France, where we just have, so Italy, for example, 85% going down, France 72%, Spain nearly 70%, Germany, on the other hand, for example, 37%, or Romania, as we are here now with 32%, less car registration. So this is, of course, showing that we have here a worldwide topic, which is not we cannot produce, but there is not a demand, and therefore we are shutting down. We just see that in Europe, mainly every car plant was shut down, and I think here in average about 29 days the plants were closed in average in EU, and therefore 2.3 million vehicles were produced less. Now, of course, we need also to see how this will start again, because ramping up is not just plugging this in and then everything is running up. We need to be very good synchronized. Looking to our situation, for example, in Romania, we have here 20,000 people in Continental. We have 13,000 people in different plants and more than 7,000 people in R&D and shared services. And looking to this, the demand in R&D and shared services was very high. Even we had to compensate here for some regions where by law the locations were closed and they could not work. On the other hand, with the plant, also we had issues. And finally, we saw that the demand of the customers were not decreasing. So even if in Europe nearly every plant, every automotive plant was just closed down, we still had work. So we produced this also. And currently, we saw coming with the Easter time of Romania that in this time we just saw that also the demand was going down, and we had to take measures like technical unemployment or something like this, 2 to 3 weeks here to just reduce our productions in certain areas. Now the situation is what are we doing? And we have, I think, Mihai and also Julius just showed this. Whole Romanian automotive industry was in this direction. We have about 14% of the GDP is automotive, about 1/4 of the export is automotive. So of course we will see this then very clearly in Romania as a big topic also coming directly out of the automotive industry. And looking now to Romania, because of course people are thinking also take this as a chance for Romania as a crisis. 2009, I think we just went out after the crisis better than before. And but currently what we are seeing is that my understanding is people are coming back from outside. They brought also the DCs, so Corona was brought into the country by the people coming back. We have now, even not looking to these people, about 1 million people in chômage technic. We have in Romania, we have about 500,000 being now unemployed. And I think here this is also our clear request that things needs to be done or that the government needs to react now very fast, because even if we just say now we are open one country by the other country, I don't expect that Spain or Italy will now go, or France will now go and start. Everybody's running now the first day to the dealer and buys a new car. So there will be also over the whole year less production, and this we need to see what this means for our company. For Conti Worldwide, for example, the first quarter showed, even if I just mentioned before, sales drops on the car sales of worldwide 38% and so on. Conti, for example, went down only with 11% from in the first quarter from January to March. But nevertheless, like many other companies, there was no really forecast delivered and no expectation just mentioned what we expect for the rest of the year. Because we still see that we are in a very volatile situation and don't know exactly how things will develop. Mihai mentioned this already. I think like every local company also, we tried to involve ourselves in different CSR and sponsoring activities, helping especially the health sector. So buying ventilators with the automotive partnership. We also just collected money to repair about 50 ventilators for different Romanian hospitals. we just looked also to produce by ourselves and by the initiative of some employees, some visors and the other protective materials. So here we tried also to involve ourselves clear in this direction. Again, for me, the big topic is Romania needs to be much more proactive to just use this as a chance. We just imported and we will have now unemployment, higher unemployment. We need to keep the people being employed in the companies. So this Kurzarbeit, this reduced work is a very, very good scheme to be used in this direction. And we urgently need it, not just for our industry, but also for the other industries. We will have in this year now not a growth. We will just, I think Romania projected something like -5, -6% GDP. In Germany, something like -7%. So for Romania, this also means that, of course, people which are working out of Romania now in Italy, in Spain, in Germany will lose their job and will come back. So we just need to see how to try to bring all these people in work. And for this, the measure of short-term work is really the best topic to do. And we need urgently to look as a country to work on this direction. So this is mainly my messages. A second topic is also if we now start production, if we now bring the people back, another topic which we see in the Western countries being a very big topic, and this will be also the same here. You cannot just have a whole country working from home as much as possible and having no chance for all the parents having small kids to just bring them somewhere in, I take now the Romanian words, creche, kindergarten, or whatever. So finally, we need to look how to have a possibility that really parents can work. So that's from my side, and I'm of course keen to your questions and to listen to the rest of the meeting now.
Thank you very much, Christian. Yes, indeed, we have one question from Christian Weidand, and right now I'm seeing also his face. I would like to thank Christian Weidand and Anka Grigorescu, and I think not only in my name, but in the name of the whole AHK board, if I'm allowed to, Dragos. They helped us very much in order to work on the topic Kurzarbeit. And without the help, we would have not succeeded so far. Now we are working on the little step still to go, but definitely without their help regarding labor law topics and the actual framework, we would not have been so far. So the question, thanks again, Christian and Anka. So the question from Christian was from Christian Weidand to Christian von Albrechtstel. How big do you see the risk that Romania loses its position on the European world market due to the lack of effective anti-crisis measures? I mean, right now it's a competition of crisis management. It's a competition of money. This is also a topic that is raised in other countries. What is your opinion, Christian von Albrechtsfeld?
So I currently see the overall setup, and since more than 2 years now, what we currently saw, mainly pushed since 2014, that from the jobs being mainly paid by minimum salary, there is a high political pressure put to increase salaries much higher than the productivity increase. So this we see since whatever 2014 something in this direction, and with this overall politically wished direction, we are now in a situation that already many new investments were not coming anymore to Romania. The first fabrication sites, the first plants in Western Romania closed. Many others, also now in this meeting, did already shifts. We did not close, but what we did is labor-intensive work went now, and this is honestly the first time we saw it, from Romania to Western countries. So we have examples where things just went over the border to the other side. New sites were opened in Serbia, at the border of Ukraine, in Hungary, and not anymore in Romania. And these were already developments which we have seen in the last 2-3 years. Of course, all the politicians were always saying us, come on guys, you tell us this only, but on the other side, you don't get enough people in Romania. That's the way it is. And finally, Romania lost competitivity. And now we are in a situation where even this crisis is coming, which we could use now, having now whatever 1.5 million of people somewhere available. And I don't think that we have the right measures in place, to just political measures in place to just remain here, to show here competitivity. And it's not for me just a question of money. It's also a question of political will, what we are seeing. It's a question of really understanding the problem. It's a question now really to work further on digitalization in the administration, which we absolutely need, and the getting again in a spirit of investment from the state, and not just spending money to employees and to people, not just spending in consumption.
If I may give you a feedback from yesterday from the president.
If these are public information, yes.
All investors are complaining about Romania, but all investors are making good money here and nobody wants to go. So it is time to promote Romania and to relocate companies from China, for example, in Romania or in other countries in Southeastern Europe. So do not complain too much. Bring your company to Romania, because the president says you are making money here. You don't have to complain.
So then maybe, I'm just saying, guys, they should look to the facts. Nestle closed in Timișoara 1 year ago. We have Riker, which closed in Lugoj. We have Delphi, which closed in Moldovan Noa.
I just gave you a feedback. Don't fight with me. Yeah, but don't convince me.
But this is exactly what I hear from all the politicians all the years, and I tell them always, look, the first ones are leaving. Of course, if I invested, we invested now 1.8 billion, I think, in Romania. We are not leaving from one day to the other day. But the next investment we are not doing here. We just opened a site in Serbia, in Novi Sad.
Okay.
So these are the investment decisions of last year before Corona, and this is all public. So it is nothing which is not known.
So my idea in this point, and then I must leave now, 5 o'clock. But my idea is maybe to try to make a position paper from AHK. And to send it to the Prime Minister and to the President of this country, in which we put all the advantages, but also all the disadvantages that we are facing in Romania. Probably we have more advantages still, I don't know. But this does not mean that we should not have to work on the disadvantages and tell them the truth. It's not only one side, a good one, there is also another one. Maybe we can put it on paper.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Christian, for your input. Well received. I think we will. Julia, you want to say something, of course?
Yes. On the other hand, because we took some comparison between Romania and other states, I can share the Drexelmeier experience, and no other states like Serbia, Macedonia, or Republic Moldavia gives such a state aid as the Romanian state regarding this TLO. It means in comparison with Serbia, Macedonia, Republic Moldavia, Romanian is much better. Only to share my or our experience. Romania is not so bad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We close the automotive sector with good news, and that's very nice. Thank you very much, Christian, for your insights, Julio and Michai. We will now continue with a short look on the timing to the, sorry, Roland, on the retail sector. But let's start with Roland on wholesale, and let's listen to his inputs. And then Daniel Groß von Rewe, you can continue. Please, Roland.
Hello, Sebastian. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, very good. Thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about the food wholesale. First of all, I mean, Metro is not going to leave because Metro trade is by definition local. So to do the business in Romania, we continue, of course. They are happy to be in Romania. What we have done so far is as Metro, you can imagine we have 4,000 people, frontline workers, in order to keep the food supply for the country alive. So actually our safety first approach was all what it was about for weeks now, starting with the temperature checks for accessing the store, for accessing the platforms or the headquarters, for customers, for partners, for employees, using masks, disinfecting the stores regularly, also the platform. You can imagine this is quite a big effort. And also we learned how well it does work when you do home office, actually. And I'm pushing this further because we only slightly, or let's say in steps, we are reopening the headquarters. Of course, under strict regulation here as well. No elevator, no air conditioning, no canteen, nothing. So we keep working from home office, I think, for the next few months, even just for the reason, for the sake of the safety of our people. How the business is affected in Metro, you know that we are running B2B business. That means 90% of our sales we do with either small trade shops, trader shops, kiosks, so-called resellers. And the other part of the business is related to HoReCa, hotel, restaurant, and caterer. You can imagine that the small proximity stores, they are not too badly off at the moment. So actually customers, they go more to small stores because of the travel restrictions, and also they're a bit afraid to come to the bigger stores and to crowd there with others. However, the HoReCa part of our business is completely down, 70–75% minus on HoReCa, as all restaurants and most of the hotels have completely closed. What we also see is, and this leads actually to an opportunity in Romania, the assortment mix has completely changed. You see there is a drive towards price entry products, low margin products. People buy partially less fresh, but more stuff they can actually stock up. And of course, you can imagine that everything which is related to investments, long-term investments like kitchen equipment, etc., in restaurants, this business is completely down at this moment. But what we also face, and maybe it's the same with Rewe and Daniel Groß, is in some parts of the supply chain, we also have gaps, or let's say less reliability, less safety in the delivery of what we are ordering. And this is also related to, first of all, import, where some of borders have been closed for a period, or where import at least has become a bit more or less reliable, more burdensome. Where on the other hand, the local production, which is anyway a positive trend to buy more local products from Romania, this has run into some capacity problems. So here, actually, it has been already a trend that people demand, they ask more and more for local products from a sustainability point of view, now with the coronavirus, of course, also from a safety, from a delivery point of view. And here the capacity problems become more and more obvious. And this is a huge opportunity in Romania actually to invest, especially in the food area. There are plenty of areas and sectors and categories where actually I wish to see more Romanian production. This would also help us on the trade side because we are willing to buy from Romanian producers. Another big trend, actually, this is accelerating everywhere. We have started the digitalization, but now we are booming communication, any type of promotion, the whole customer interaction. Everything we do on the e-commerce side, of course, is now starting to grow faster than we thought. And I think these disruptive changes will continue with acceleration for the next 12, 18 months. And yeah, unfortunately, we have another problem to face if Corona is not enough. The drought, which we have had seen in the beginning of this year, we also expect that the harvest this year in Romania will not be as strong and as good as we were used to, and this could also lead to some inflation or shortage on certain products which we have locally sourced in the past. What I would like to put here is coming back to this whole HoReCa, the hotel, restaurant, caterer market. I mean, we are. This is a key customer group of us, where we have many thousand customers actually, which we are serving, which are really in trouble at the moment. And of course, this is a sector which is probably not so exposed. It's visible for us as end consumers, but from a economic point of view, maybe not so big, not so seen as so important, but it's a bit of a backbone, these small, medium enterprises, also of the Romanian economy. And they are also the ones at the end buying cars and having, let's say, their phone bills paid, etc. So they also affect, of course, with their not having their business anymore, they also affect the consumption in other areas. But of course, this sector, there is a lack of data, a lack of transparency, maybe a lack of representation. And this is where we try to help now. We are creating, building a white paper. We are connecting with associations like HORA, the Hotel Restaurant Association, or the National Chef Association. We use customers of us, chefs. We are talking to doctors, virologists, etc., to have a community together, not in order to push the government to reopen. I think we are not in the position to make such a decision or to push for that. But what we would like to create is a very constructive proposal to turn a restaurant into a safe place. So with all the elements, the ingredients, the trainings, the equipment, and everything you need, so that a customer, but also consumer, feels safe when entering a restaurant again, and to get prepared for the moment when restaurants, at least in parts, in steps, start to operate again. And here, actually, we try, also on the trader side, on the reseller side, we try to find these small elements to help them surviving in this very, very difficult period. And if I can launch here one appeal for everybody here, please don't forget your small trader shop or your favorite restaurant and help them in these days. Those ones who offer, for example, delivery service, restaurants who offer delivery service, we have created a Google Map type of visibility for them, and we are rolling this out now, where you can find all the restaurants who offer delivery service, and you can click on the map and you see all the data, contacts, etc. You want to integrate menu and everything, that you immediately can do your ordering for home. And you do that, actually, we do this service, we offer this for free to help them to survive, and they don't need to pay, of course, any commission, nothing. So I think we need to find in this digital environment ways to keep these small enterprises alive. So help these small businesses as well, don't forget them. And yeah, this is basically what I can tell from my side. Maybe one more point. My biggest, my real concern about the situation in Romania is we are using, in a very rigid way, as in many other countries, a very strong lockdown in order to defeat the virus, but we don't control the virus. And we have, I believe, to live for a longer period. maybe 1.5, 2 years, if not even longer, we have to live with the situation. There is always a danger of the virus coming back and accelerate the number of infections, as long as we do not have a really bigger number of tests, a bigger number, a panel situation, which give us also more confidence about the real situation in Romania, because the numbers we see, I believe, seem very, very low. And it seems more like we do not really know. And as we do not know, we better lock down. And this is bad for the economy, but also bad for getting control on this whole disease. Yeah. So this is maybe from my side, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this view. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Roland. We continue with Daniel Groß in the food retail.
Good afternoon. Allowed to have some words here. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Everything perfect.
So we had also a special situation in this month, but fortunately we were on a business track and not having the situation of closing some shops. About Penny Romania, we have 259 shops opened today, and we are present all over the country, so in each and every county. And we have also 3 warehouses employing more than 4,500 people. And our main focus was in this period actually to protect these people. Why I'm saying to protect these people? Because we have roughly 2 million customers a week, which is 10% of the population of Romania. And these people were meeting these customers were meeting our employee every day. So the main focus was to assure, of course, also what Roland said about protection, about gloves, about mask, but also was very, very important to have psychological care for our people. That's why we had also today, starting with 26th of February, we had daily calls and daily meetings 7 days a week in cascading through the organization in order to be able to speak to each and every of our shops in order to give them the feeling that they are protected and they will be also somebody will take care of them if something happens. And here, because Roland mentioned the control of the virus, statistically speaking, in these 2.5 months, we do not have one employee which was confirmed positive coming out of the shops. Actually, in our entire workforce, there are two people which were confirmed positive, but were contacts of other people at home, so they were in isolation. So until now, there is no one single example of somebody in our workforce which was infected, even they had such a big contact with a lot of people in the shops. So that's why probably the disease and the infection is not coming through the contact with the products and through the contact with the surfaces. We, of course, we cleaned every surface. We are doing this every 2 hours. We clean our trolleys, we clean our bands at the cash outs. We have protective screens in front of the cash desk. But anyhow, statistically speaking, in these 2 months, we have no one single situation in one shop. And we are speaking of completely Romania, inclusive Suceava County, where we have 7 shops. Regarding the business, we had a very, very strong March business. Actually, the first 2 weeks of March were absolutely crazy. And here the main issue was to assure the availability of the products in the shops. But here, it was not a problem really of products being available at the suppliers, but it was a problem of capacity. We had also in some days we had to have more than 50 trucks additional per one warehouse in order to supply the products. The same situation was at the Romanian suppliers. Of course, we had the problems with the international suppliers because some of the trucks were blocked. They were blocked actually not even in that period with Hungary, but they were also blocked before at the border between Italy and Austria or Slovenia, and it was important for a lot of fruit and vegetables, for example. But we could compensate much of the product, and except 2 or 3 weeks in March, then the rest was coming to normal. Now coming to April, we are now we had a normal business for Eastern, comparable with the last year, with a big difference that now the average receipt is much higher, and the frequency, the number of customer is much lower. And we will see that until now it's continuing more or less like this. The entire market had quite slower development in April, and we think that this is probably a topic of not having all the Romanians from abroad here and spending the money as we are used to in the past. This will also see a big topic for the summer when, again, probably they will not be all here. Regarding the collaboration with authorities, we had, I would say, a good example because they were proactive. So we had meetings with Consumer Protection Authority, we had meetings with the Ministry of Agriculture, we had meetings with the Ministry of Economy, and all these meetings were requested from their side in different issues, protection, mask, disinfectants, and so on and so forth, and they try to find a solution. So in our cases, I cannot complain that the authority were not interested. So compared to the, let's say, last 15 years in Romania, I would say it was a positive reaction of the authorities in these 2 months. Regarding the future, I started to say about the people which are working abroad. I think that for the next 18 months, we'll have an issue with the money which were used to be sent from abroad. It is calculated that we are getting from the people which are working abroad, Romanians, remittance of roughly 6 billion euro a year. It is calculated that probably some of this money, 40% of this money, will not come to Romania in the next 18 months, because the people which are working abroad were employed in agriculture there, and there probably there will be a relaxation for the next few months, but they are also working a lot in tourism and HoReCa in these Western countries. And I don't see that this year something will happen dramatically there, so they will not have the money to earn there, and for sure not to send them to Romania. Then on top will come the unemployment, what we heard also from our colleagues. It will be probably part of the workforce will have to go into unemployment. It is calculated 6-7%. But also, if we are going to the Kurzarbeit, this will mean for the industry less money available for spending. So this will come also on top. So our scenarios are seeing that in the next 18 months, it will be tough to maintain the level of last year. This is, from my point of view, a best case scenario. Probably will go a little bit down. We as a discounter for sure will have maybe some less decreases, because as also Roland said, the people are looking for down trading, they are looking for basic products, they are looking for, let's say, value for money. And this is, in our case, the best situation. But if the entire market is going down, we also will go a little bit down. Regarding the future, longer future of Romania, I think there is a huge potential here. We are at half of the development for the next 10 years. There is potential not only in the retail market, there is huge potential also in the vertical industry. There is, we have a very good land, but we have no warehousing, we have no collection centers, we have no enough processing factories. For example, meat, it's almost all imported. There are a lot of other categories. Embalages, for example, they are not produced at all in Romania. So there is a big opportunity for the private sector, but also for the state to invest in this direction, because it is quite easy to implement. So to make a factory in the food processing industry is not that complicated and can be very easy relocated from somewhere else, or even done here as greenfield investment, because the chain of supply will help them here to have some advantages from logistic perspective. As a last thought is that I think that now we are in a very low area of our day-to-day life, but we have to think positive, because every time after a crisis, there is also a big potential for growth, and we have to be prepared and to think how we take the opportunities for the future. Digitalization is one of them, to see that we make good business in medium-term perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I think I see one question from Christina Dayanu. I will put this question later after the presentation of Michael Bayer for agriculture, because I see already some are leaving. And I think it's better to have the presentation first, and then I will put this question. So Michael, what is happening in the agricultural sector?
Yeah, Sebastian, first of all, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to give a certain overview about the current situation of the Romanian agriculture. As you might know, the Romanian agriculture is a 6 to 8% impact on the Romanian annual GDP. So half time as big as the automotive has. So, but I cannot come directly to the impact of the Corona crisis on the agriculture without giving you some informations about the general conditions the agriculture in Romania is in. Because I need also to thank Roland and Daniel to touch very much in brief some of points which are quite important to understand, and hopefully which will be taken into consideration for the implementation in the nearest future. So the arable land in Romania is some 8.3 million of hectares, from out of which 50% are operated in a professional way only. The crop production, and now please don't be impressed, last year was under tough conditions, some 8.4 million tons of wheat, some 13 million tons of corn, but only 650 million tons of rapeseed, which is a decrease of 1 million tons in comparison to the year before. So, and this was due to the fact of the drought we had almost last year. Coming a little bit to the meat production, in comparison, for instance, to a country like Germany, Romania is far behind concerning the production of pork, of beef. Only the production of chicken is more or less comparable with the volumes we see in Germany. I don't want to touch the topic of milk production, because the direct comparison with Germany. If this would be a one-to-one comparison, then Romania could or should increase the local production of milk by 8 times. So there is a huge potential for further growth. The challenges for the Romanian agriculture in general. So since 2015, the Romanian government is running a project on the implementation of irrigation systems because the Romanian agriculture is more and more affected by the weather conditions, the climate change, the droughts. We are seeing more and more. So it was originally planned to have irrigation for 2 additional millions of hectares, from out of which, as per today, only 850,000 hectares are implemented. So until that, it was in this moment, it was decided to prolong this program for another 2 years. So as I said, the Romanian agriculture is very much depending on the weather conditions. And in the past few months, except for the last days, when you look outside, we had some rain for the last some days, but there was not sufficient average of rainfall. Take as an example, April, we have seen an average just some 7 liters of water coming from the heaven. In a normal year, it is something like 53 liters per square meter. I'm sorry. So this means that we are facing here in Romania the 2nd year in a row serious drought, and of course this has a substantial impact on the production the farmers will have. And despite this tough weather conditions, of course, the Romanian agriculture is facing the same challenges as several other industries, like the lack of qualified staff and the infrastructure, which is not very much sufficient. So coming to the current Corona crisis and the impact on the Romanian agriculture, accordingly to the Military Ordinance number 3, agricultural activities and the trade of the agricultural products are allowed. So taking into consideration all health protecting measures, the farmers are allowed to run their business more or less as usual. So the impact on the spring and summer crop sowings, we don't see. The pandemic has brought uncertainty and concerns about the inputs like seeds, fertilizers, agrochemicals, related to disruptions in the logistics. So far, the supply of seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides seems to be adequate, and we don't expect immediate disruptions. And this is also thanks to the rapid adoption of the European Union guidelines for border protection measures in order to protect the health and ensure the availability of these kind of goods. Coming to the delivery of agricultural machinery and spare parts and provision of services, all major manufacturers, major players have stopped somewhere in March the production in their European facilities. We have been touched on the 27th of March. We have reduced our production for combine harvesters and tractors, but we continued to ship tractors and harvesters, and this was running on full speed. So, and on 20th of April, we have restarted our production in Germany and in France with speed due to the fact that also the supplies coming from other Western countries needed for the production of these kind of machineries was ensured. Supply of spare parts was and is guaranteed. The supply chain has been maintained throughout the entire period. And our class sales partners in Romania with their workshops and their customer service, we are supporting our farmers as usual, I would say, of course, with the limitations everybody knows. But I think it is enough about the challenges we have. In my personal opinion, this very tough situation has also certain chances. The food industry is a major topic. The food security is a major topic. And here we see definitely a big potential by also implementing digitalization through the whole supply chain, from the farmer till the wholesale, till the retail structure, in order to increase productivity, to ensure the availability of Romanian products by having the processes, but in a state-of-the-art way. Yeah, this very much in brief from my side. Thank you very much. And now I'm looking forward for your questions or comments.
Thank you very much. Do we have one question from Günther Meyer and also from Christina Daiano? I will read it loud. What would you see a top priority measure to be implemented by the government in order to support? What are countries like Hungary or Czech Republic doing better? Okay, I mean, this is a quite big topic. Looking on the time, maybe some short answers on this?
Yes, when you look on the productivity per hectare, and if you compare that with other European countries, there is a lot of room for improvement. And here we would see the need of a stronger support of the Romanian farmers by providing loans, long-term loans on a very low interest level from the one hand side. On the other hand side, we definitely see the need that the Romanian agriculture will be less impacted in future from the weather conditions. The soil is good, the surroundings are quite good, except the water, which is missing sometimes. So here the implementation, the successful implementation of irrigation systems would have a huge impact. On the other things, on the other side, things like precision farming means using digitalization, using data management. This could be supported much stronger, and this would lead also to predictability of the harvest.
Oops, there's one micro on. Günther Meyer, you have also a question?
Yeah, I have a question and general remarks. I'm Günther Meyer from Germany, Trade and Invest. And I always try to identify trade opportunities for German companies as well as investment opportunities in Romania. And from all the presentations today, I just noticed there's also a big chance in this crisis, in this end of the crisis. Actually, today the European Commission published its forecast, and I mean, although there is the prognosis is a decrease by 6% of the gross domestic product next year, but there's also good news in that there is 2.5% inflation rate, consumer price index, compared to 2019, it was 3.9%. So for the trade sector, I say there's much also to expect. I mean, people have deferred over weeks their purchases and we're not allowed to shop except for basics or groceries. And I think also for Romania, there's a big opportunity to, when the crisis happens, you suddenly become conscious what is missing, what is not working anymore, where is a lack. And I mean, all these products from medical material and equipment devices to food, where there's really the potential, as we have heard in the presentation about the trade sector. Romania can go also into a direction of import substitution, which would be a good strategy in addition to activating trade relationships with German companies as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Mr. Meyer, for your input. The last question for Christian von Albrechtsfeld, because he has a question on agriculture, isn't it, Christian? Yep. Go ahead.
So, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So my question was finally, I think you answered it already a little bit. The question is, of course, is irrigation really helping? When I just look to this different news from Germany, we have a drought which is going there already in a depth where they just have problems that the trees are dying. So really the water is really, there's some meters below where it should be. And it's difficult then to really get to some water.
Of course, we see the effect of excessive irrigation in several regions of the world, like in Arabia, where they are practically stopped the agricultural operations, and nowadays they are supplied with goods from coming abroad. For the moment, we see there no bigger threat. The water resources, they are looking very good so far. And we have to be very precise on that. This irrigation should support the farmers in a time when we are lacking rain. It cannot be applied as, let's say, as a standard. And we have systems available. There are in the agricultural market, there are systems available which are quite efficient in terms of water consumption and the outcome or the impact on the cultivation.
Okay. So I think we made a good conference today. I'm very proud of the presentation, very well. It was amazing what potential, what input, what information we have in our community. Thank you all for listening, for sharing, for presenting, for giving thoughts and best practices. We will continue in this format also on the next event in June, first Wednesday in June, where we will hear about the construction, the chemical industry, energy and tourism. Of course, tourism will be made by Dragos. He has good insights. Maybe it's also time for tourism. It's June. Maybe we can spend some nice days for tourism, maybe in Brasov. Why not? I see your heart in Brasov, but Satu Mare is also a very nice place. Or maybe you can share your vacations in the whole country. Romania is a very beautiful place, and maybe this year it's also good to make some nice holidays over here. Once again, thank you all for listening, for sharing, and I wish you a wonderful evening. All the best. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.